I'm sure all of us have been in situations where you've had to deal with someone who's so insulting, so demeaning to what you're trying to accomplish, who is a know-it-all, who is just, downright a pain in the ass. I get that. Now, I want to discuss something about taking the high road. When to take the high road? Is it important to take the high road? Are there times where you just say, you know what, it's never that serious and walk away? Let's discuss this. My name is Mwenesi, and this is Get Yours. Over the weekend, I had the pleasure of having a couple of client meetings, and one of those meetings stood out for me because of how it made me feel. I've discussed this in the past, when we talk about human beings being creatures of emotions. I myself am a human, I have emotions, I feel things, and my need to react to things is there just as much as the next person. And this particular client engagement really got to me because of the manner in which this individual was speaking to me and telling me things that I thought, okay, I don't know if this is what I signed up for. I don't know if this is a test, but it was basically insulting me from start to finish. And I get that. And sometimes, you do get people who have different personality types. You have people who are very narcissistic. There are people who are know-it-alls. There are people who have a superiority complex and they want to show you that they are better than you and that they know more than you. And that's fine. People come in all shapes and sizes, and sometimes dealing with those kinds of people is what will either make or break your success going forward. I'm very conscious of that because in my life, I've always tried to be as diplomatic as possible up to a point where I figure, you know what, it's not worth it anymore. And there are times when you do get to that point where if it is disturbing your core values, and I want to stress the term values because values are the things that are your complete non-negotiables. If you are someone who is, honest and someone is dishonest to you, that is an example of your values being compromised. If you are someone who is of a certain religious persuasion and someone does something that is contrary to your religion, that is where you can have that value argument with yourself. But for me, I will walk away from things if they go against my core values. Core values are the things that are non-negotiables. However, there are times when it won't necessarily go against my core values, but it will irritate the living hell out of me, to the point where I'm just like, it's just because I need this thing for my milestones. And again, this is where now, your ability to take the high road comes into play. What objectives and milestones have you set for yourself? Because there will be people who will come into your life who are necessary for certain milestones. You need them in order to accomplish certain things, certain goals, certain targets. And those people will honestly be some of the most difficult people you'll have to engage with simply because they are who they are, and maybe they're in a position of power, they're in a position of extreme wealth, or they're in a position of giving you access to some people who will help you move forward in your career journey or whatever it is. Yeah. These milestones, these objectives, if you are ruthless about them, then I strongly believe, and this is the exercise that I had to do with myself when I was confronted with that situation. I did a mental calculation and I said to myself, is this impinging on my core values? No, he's just pissing me off and he's just being downright rude and insulting. But that being the case, is this necessary for where I want to go in my life? Will this add value in terms of the kind of engagements that I'm trying to accomplish for my 2-year, 5-year, or even 10-year goals? Is this going to be useful for me in the future? Once I did that exercise mentally and I reached the conclusion that yes, this is important, I did my best to be as courteous as possible and to say, okay, you know what, we will agree to disagree. I will not try and argue or fan the flames, because one of the critical things that people who are argumentative, rude, and insulting tend to want to do is because they feed off that energy. The more you want to push back and challenge, it's like you're adding fuel to the fire. So I decided I'm not going to add fuel to the fire. In fact, I'm going to kill this fire and say, oh, if that's your opinion, that's fine. Oh, that's how you feel about that? That's okay. And it was a conscious mental effort on my part to allow myself to keep reminding myself that, you know what, this is not for now, this is for the future, and I need this contract, I need this deal to happen, and I will, dial myself back and express my emotions at a later stage, but not now. I'll go to the gym, or I'll go stand in a forest and scream about it somewhere, or I'll talk to my friends or my wife or someone and just let that out, so that I don't have to show it to this person, because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If I chose to react, to what I was being told there in that situation, it would have cost me the contract, it would have cost me my objective, and maybe I would have gotten it somewhere else. But I thought to myself, this is not worth me losing. There's something called opportunity cost. And I did the opportunity cost where I balanced out, what do I stand to gain from this interaction and what do I stand to lose? And I realized that the gains, as much as it was difficult to stomach at that point, were much more than what I stood to lose. And so I decided, I'll put up with this insult for now, but I don't necessarily have to talk to you or engage you down the line. Maybe I'll get someone else to deal with you, and I'll only deal with you when it's completely necessary, just so that I can also protect my peace of mind. Incidentally, and this is the irony about this whole situation, peace of mind is one of my core values. So as soon as I realized, this is now going to go really against my values, I really had to dig deep and look at, are my values as important as my objective? And once you do that balancing act, then, it's easier to take the high road. Again, there's so much we can discuss about this. It's mental. These sort of mental exercises, when you're confronted with someone who's rude and insulting, are the mark of someone who has, you call it emotional intelligence, call it the ability to be mature, whatever you want to call it. As long as you are able to think about what does this mean for me, as opposed to reacting to what is happening to you, then you'll be on the path to success. I hope that was useful. How do you guys deal with rude and insulting people? I'd love to know in the comments below. Please share, please subscribe, keep engaging, keep talking. This is a conversation that can go on and on and on. But for now, I just wanted to highlight how best to take the high road. My name is Mwenesi, and all I want you to do is get yours.